Yo, I ain't here for the money, I ain't here for the fame. Though it might be nice to own a jet plane, I'ma do it all for you. Come along and see it's true, but the world is pretty cold. You might.
What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Blue, and I'm gonna go ahead and do this recap video that I didn't do last week. Yeah, so let's get into this. Anyways, last week I ended up having a rough week, ended up losing about 1,700. The week before that I made like 1,000. So in all I'm down 700. Now today I ended up taking 3 trades, and on the first trade it was actually I didn't get stopped out. I had on a trade and I was setting up some hot buttons on IB, Interactive Brokers, but my trailing stop didn't stop me out, so I ended up taking a bigger loss than I wanted to, which was the 95 bucks. These are the executions of the trades that I ended up taking today. My second trade was up here, and I was looking for the breakout for the day, which it did, but I thought it was going to keep going, and when it pulled back I ended up stopping out right below where I entered, so I ended up taking a smaller loss on that one. On my third trade, I was looking for, okay, since I kept getting all these wicks, it's looking like it want to break down, and this may just be a double top. So on the break of this red or this doji, I ended up taking 2 contracts, 2 put contracts from Tesla, and it started working. But as it started popping back up, I decided to take one of the contracts off, which is right here in this circle, and ended up taking a $17 loss on it. And I just let the other one go, and it was gonna go until it either stopped me out, which I had a trailing stop on, and it ended up just falling apart. Now I ended up making 5-to-1, basically a 5R on the one contract, because I was only risking 100 bucks, and I ended up making 5, which brought my total for the day after commissions and everything. I ended up being up $343. But that was the trades that I ended up taking for today. Last week I ended up taking some trades, and I was taking trades. Well, Friday my first trade was I shouldn't have been in it, period. I ended up getting in too early. I usually don't take a trade for the most part right after the 5-minute candle, and this first 5-minute candle right here that formed, and I usually wait for the second candle to try to get some clarity on the direction, and ended up doing something stupid and took a nice loss on this reversal all the way back up, because I thought it was going to end up fading, but it didn't. So I ended up stopping out, took a nice loss on that one. Though, well, it was only like 400 bucks, but my big loss was Tuesday, which Monday was the last video I made, but Tuesday I ended up losing about, what was it, 1,300, and made some of it back, 200 of it back, but still ended up down. But the rest of the week was like a slow bleed, smaller losses. So I ended up down 1,700 on the week. So anyways, those the trades that I ended up taking. I did some modifications to the setup that I trade, which is pullbacks and 5-minute breaks. And on this one, I actually had an entry that I could have took right here. I wasn't even in front of my computer to even take the trade, but it pulled back nicely, and I could have took an entry up in here for the fade. Also, it was one right off of this support that where it kept bouncing, and once it cracked and it pulled back, could have took an entry off of it then for the rest of the fade, all the way down to where I got this line at. But anyways, those all hindsight, so they don't really count. But I was just looking at it and decided to say something about it. But anyway, those are the trades that I ended up taking for today. If y'all like my breakdown on my trades, leave a like, a thumbs up, and consider subscribing. And I'll be back at this later. Deuces.